This program is powered by thevirtual.show, making your offline events virtual. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of WEBIT Virtual, Dr. Plamen Russev.
Hello, wonderful WEBIT community, wherever you are in the world. Normally, we host attendees, virtual attendees from 100 plus countries. Today, I will know the numbers after the show, but we already hosted on Monday over 120. So it's going to be a fantastic day today. My favorite show of the week, part of the Fintech week, where we bring together the most innovative part of the ecosystem, the innovators from the startup ecosystem, where we select the best of the best from our Founders Games Global Challenge. For those of you, my dear friends, who are with us for all these past 13 years, you know that WEBIT is running the world's biggest startup challenge with over 4,500 applicants from all around the world and $1 million award. We are not going to be hosting our live event this year as it used to be planned, but we shall be hosting a hybrid event, which will be much more interesting, I'm sure. And it will be in October, when all selected startups will be pitching, and still those who we select, we shall have a wild card for having a free exhibition area and participation, of course, in the $1 million award of the live WEBIT Festival. Without further ado, you know the rules. We have 4 investors who are members of the jury judging the best of the best startups pitching. We have 3 startups. Their founders are going to be presenting the company in front of our respected jury, and then one of them will be announced as a winner. Simple as that. We've focused on 5 factors. First, uniqueness of idea. Second, scalability. Third, business approach. Fourth is the marketing approach. And fifth is the way that we perceive the business potential of the company and the team capacity that is behind it. Is the team capable of achieving what they're going to present us? The companies that we've selected for this particular round are almost in the same stage of their development. Still, there are some differences, and you will definitely see that. Without further ado, I would like to start presenting my guests, the jury panel. This is the first one.
Sabine VanderLinden is an investment partner and advisor at Red Sun Ventures. She is a growth expert with years of experience working with leading organizations and over 100 well-known financial institutions.
Such a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for joining.
Pleasure is mine. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, well, we've had even more exciting meetings. They were in person, dear Sabine, when you were a member of the jury and advisor to our final selection process of the Founders Games Live. Well, now let's pretend the same excitement is here in the room, even though it's a virtual room. And I'm very grateful for you joining. Actually, last time when we were together, you were working, your career was part of the startup bootcamp. Now you are running as investment partner, the Red Sun Ventures. So how is life lately for you?
It's good. I mean, you know, London has been an interesting place for the past few weeks, but life is great. You know, the startups
for the past couple of years, if you ask me.
But startups are still getting funded. You know, I'm being in Fintech, being in InsurTech. You know, we've had quite some investment and our numbers are increasing. We've had probably over 1.5 billion invested in InsurTech so far. And so we are happy to see that across the globe. So investors are keeping busy. And, we are moving to this remote working environment, which will bring interesting opportunities, I think, in finance altogether.
I would like to discuss further the investment environment, especially in fintech. We were having yesterday a discussion with the CEO of Revolut and the founder of VAS and Channel VAS, and they both agreed that the golden age of the investment in fintech is over. They said that now it's more like time for reshuffling the markets and M&As. But let's see. It will be very interesting to hear what the investors are saying versus what the founders from yesterday were sharing, even though their companies are really big and explosive. Sabine, thank you for joining. Another good friend is coming back to WEBIT Virtual. Let me introduce him.
Ali Madhavjir is a managing partner at Blockchain Founders Fund. He is passionate about emerging technologies to help change the world. This includes blockchain, cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, education, and fintech. Ali previously held roles with PayPal, Microsoft, Bloomberg, and the Royal Canadian Air Force.
Ali, welcome back. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me back.
It's always a pleasure, Ali, and you bring wealth of knowledge and experience. So it's always a pleasure to have you with us, and looking forward to have another great session presenting the very specially selected startups from all around the world. We are hosting startups from, we have Estonia, we have Spain, and we have India. So let's see what our team has selected for us. Thank you so much for joining again. Allow me to introduce the third and the fourth members of the jury so we can start. Let me introduce you the third member of the jury.
Brian Dixon is the Managing Director and COO of Capital Innovators. He has helped raise tens of millions of dollars for investment funds and portfolio companies, provided venture investment and management to more than 130 companies in technology, consumer products, and energy tech verticals, which have scaled to create over 2,000 jobs.
Brian, welcome. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. We were having two investors starting up. You're more on the consulting part, but supporting a lot of startups raise millions. So always great to have you with us to hear your point of view on their way of pitching, presenting their companies, and of course, advices on what could be improved. Thank you so much. Where in US are you?
I'm located in St. Louis, Missouri.
Wonderful. We were having Ali from Vancouver and Sabine from London. And let's bring one more last member of the jury now.
Isaac de la Peña is a general partner for GED Canexo Ventures, investing in exceptional individuals with passion for solving hard challenges and bringing disruptive innovation to high-growth markets. He has over 20 years of experience in technology and investment and is responsible for operations in Silicon Valley.
Isaac, good to see you. Last time we were together, it was in a train station in Madrid.
Having good tapas. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for having me here. Really excited to be here
It's always good to have good wine and good talk with someone like you. Thank you
Great
for
memories.
joining me back, and great to have you with us. So I would like to suggest, without further ado, to start with the pitches and the presentations, because we will have no time. You will see after all, for all the questions and answers. We have 3 minutes presentation by startup, 5 minutes for Q&A from the jury, and we have to select the best of these three amazing startups. The fact that they are pitching with us live now. That's more than enough to say how well they're doing in the business. But it's what really matters is what now you think in regards of their business model, the way they present it. So I would like to invite our first startup. It's Quppy, and we have Alina Kornienko from Estonia to present the company. How are you, Alina?
Hello, thank you. It's a pleasure to be presenting in front of you all today.
It will be our pleasure to listen to you, dear Alina. You have 3 minutes, and I would like to suggest that they start now. Go ahead.
Okay, so Quppy is a digital payment solution consolidating your bank cards and accounts. Quppy has gone further than Google Pay and Apple Pay to develop an AI solution that chooses the right card at the moment of payment. And at these pandemic times, we're closely working on improving and expanding worldwide contactless payment solutions. For example, contactless 5-minute digital IBAN account opening procedure for which only your phone or tablet and a document are needed. So Quppy was founded back in 2017 by a group of tech enthusiasts with over 15 years in top financial and IT management of companies with over $1 billion annual revenue. So after a successful launch and development of a unique payment solution gathering all types of banking operations with digital and traditional currencies within one decentralized application, we're now launching a revolutionary financial and social solution not only for banking card consolidation, but also an AI-based recurrent payments, expenses, investment automatization, gift cards consolidation and secondary market, and planning solution. And what's important, since this autumn we're launching our prepaid co-brand cards for European citizens, and for the rest of the world it would be in the beginning of 2021. So since the launch of our application back in 2018, we have won over such important European markets as Germany, UK, Italy, Spain, Norway, Denmark, Poland. We're also extremely present in the CIS countries and Russia, and we're now expanding our presence in Latin America and Asia. And we're planning to go to the North American market in the beginning of 2021. So who we are today. Quppy has over 160,000 downloads and over 1,500 active users. We have $5.6 million of transaction volume for the first 4 months of 2020. And by December 2024, we're focused to reach 3.4 million of active users, 0.2% of global payment market with over 72 billion annual transaction volume. And so as we are constantly growing and expanding our services, and we're absolutely, despite the pandemic, respecting our timeline that you can see now on the slide. As we are expanding our services and winning over other global markets, we are raising and we're open to additional venture investments. So we are asking for 7 million, which would be spread for 2 years, and we will be giving 20% of our shares.
Sorry for having to interrupt you, but it's already this bomb exploded. And but you will be having time to move ahead, presenting your team. Now I would like to have the jury members start their questions. Who will be first?
Actually, I can start. Yeah. Yes, team. So your team, how big is the team now? You presented the 3 main founders.
Yes, because I'm in front of you. So the 3 main founders were on this slide. And in total today, we're having 15 people who are working full time for our company. And we have some, for example, designers, design companies who are working, and some marketing supporters who are working part-time for us.
Can I ask you diversity? How many men versus how many women?
For example, We are 5 co-founders. I'm the only woman. Women are head of legal, head of analytics, and head of marketing. So I would say 50-50.
Good.
Alina, how are you handling cross-border regulatory concerns, being that this is financial instruments that are moving money across borders?
Okay, so we're working with full respect of all the regulatory demands, not only in the European Union, but in the whole world. So for now, we have all the necessary licenses to operate in the European Union. We have all the necessary licenses to operate in the SEPA regions and to manage the digital wallets. So that is why actually we're raising our new round, because we need additional licenses in the new regions we're trying to enter now. So for Asia, for Latin America, and for North America also.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
so there's a couple of things. I think one, this industry, I mean, is quite competitive, right? I think one of the advantages that I think you're trying to bring seems to be that ability to have the cryptocurrency sort of aspect, which might have a little bit higher margins. But there are a lot of competitors, you know, like Monarch in North America or Rapids in Southeast Asia. But what I'm most curious about is just kind of what's going on right now. So how are you guys dealing with Wirecard, and how is that impacting you guys as a business?
Okay, so Wirecard, a bit earlier, it was some faster payments. There are, of course, projects that are being no more competitive with the regulatory points in our industry. So we are seeing lots of clients from those companies moving to us. And we are also seeing, because we provide contactless solutions, we try to integrate new services to help people survive this pandemic situation. We're seeing lots of people who are not related to financial space, to some digital asset space, moving towards us because they still have some financial needs to realize every day. And that is actually the point we're working on. Despite our competitors, we are seeing our application as a new financial personal banking experience for our users. So we're trying to help them deal with all the financial operations that they might have every day. So we're not seeing cryptocurrencies or some gift cards as supplementary services, but we're considering all the services, as I've shown on the round diagram, as of main importance, of the same importance within our ecosystem.
Following from Ali, who is your customer? Can you give me a profile of who those might be?
Sure. So in the beginning, these were crypto enthusiasts, crypto adepts, some traders. But today, as we're implementing new services, for example, mobile top up in over 180 countries all around the globe, from our application directly, as we're offering multi-currency IBAN in euro and British pounds, we're seeing just normal people who want to diversify their financial services, who need to make fast contactless payments, transfers within SEPA zone, who need additional accounts to start to use our application.
Alina, on that note, you mentioned your app as the main touch point with your customers. And also on one of your slides that you had a point about white labeling your mobile app. Could you comment on your go-to-marketing strategy, whether you are direct to consumer or you are a B2B2C, or how you play there?
Okay, so again, we're stronger than our competitors. In fact, that we have not only the B2C solution that I've shown you today, but also the B2B solution, which includes, of course, the white labeling. It was our first service for companies. Then we've started with opening an account, the same as our individual customers can open within the application. Companies can open an account through us and get secure web interface to operate over this account. And that we've started a year and a half ago to help other European startups, and not only European, to get their first traditional banking account, which is very important and difficult in Europe today for startups and high-risk companies. And then we've decided to move forward with our payment solution that's called Quppy Pay. And we have an acquiring solution for merchants, online merchants, and also for mobile applications to monetize their inner resources. So that's a hyper-fast acquiring solution to accept digital currencies just by simply scanning the QR code, and the transaction is done within 5 to 10 minutes, and the merchant can open an account with us, a bank account, and keep either digital, either traditional currencies. So basically, we have two directions, and we're moving, I would say, on the same speed with them too, to promote our services.
So I understood
Thank
three.
you.
You have the
Thank you.
B2C, B2B.
Sorry for interrupting you, but
no problem.
it's the 5 minutes are over. So let's keep up with the time, because otherwise it will be very hard to achieve the final result, which means to fit in 1 hour, and of course select the best one. So both for advice, particularly for the startups, please try to keep your answers shorter so that the jury can ask you more questions, so they can vet in a more open and well-informed manner. That's very important. Alina, great job. Thank you so much for joining. Let me introduce you now the next founder joining us here at WEBIT Virtual. We have Nemuru. Nemuru is presented by Pera Monras from Spain. Hello, Pera. How are you?
Very nice being here. Thank you.
Pleasure, always pleasure having great ideas and good companies presented by founders who are passionate about what they're doing and trying to make the best every minute of their life. So, Pera, the clock will start ticking for you. 3 minutes to present and 5 minutes to answer all the questions from the jury. The floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you. So, Pera Monras, CEO and co-founder of Nemuru. We launched our solution, our MVP, almost 1 year ago, tackling an important problem we found. Like there was a lot of point-of-sale lending, most of it coming from the fintech space, basically in the e-commerce with small tickets, the typical fraud problems in the pure online space. While still the opportunity, and here are numbers of the local market in Spain, the biggest opportunity was still taken by banks, with most of its portfolio basically on the auto segment, and with, of course, technology with legacy systems from the 90s. Okay, so basically we saw this point of sale of people selling these products and services of high ticket, like nowadays still working, like bringing their customer to the branch next door in order to offer financings to their customers, or maybe having a platform of one of these financial entities, which basically translates to them a lot of paperwork, having to ask, for instance, for payrolls to their customers, and so on and so forth. So here we create the platform for them, which is convenient, universal, and simple, and what basically takes out all this paperwork from the seller and brings an easy 3 minutes process for the final consumer, which will do the onboarding process for this installment plan, and will connect to multiple lenders. So we're intermediation. We are not using our balance sheet. Sorry. Basically, we focus on this high ticket space. We do up to 30,000 per operation. We are omni-channel. We take out all these operational costs from the seller, and we integrate through APIs. And we do have this multi-lender approach. The process is here. You have the picture where the final customer will mainly in 3 minutes, and only having his ID in hand, will pursue the installment plan directly generated into the bank partner balance sheet. Our business model goes from having a servicing fee and bonus from the lender part, also complemented with a SaaS directly to the seller. Of course, we do have the capacity on the platform for cross-selling, insurance type, or also direct data and API monetization of our risk models behind it. We kept gaining traction for the first year of operations. It was a 40% monthly growth, where we end up 2019 with a run rate of almost 20 million in our platform, and we validated this model with more than 500 companies which are using us, with an average ticket per loan of greater than 5,000 euros. This is how we started. We started in the home improvement sector. We then moved to vertical expansion, also like education and health.
Thank you. I hate when I have to interrupt people.
It's okay.
What can I do? It's 3 minutes, right, for everyone. Otherwise, it will be unfair to the rest. Thank you, Peter. So we already see your team members on the screen, and congratulations, doing great in Spain. I will leave now to the jury to ask their questions.
Yeah, I'd like to just understand just real briefly, specifically what the business is doing. Is it providing cash flow loans to these businesses and these small and medium enterprises?
So it's doing real-time financing for the final consumer that is buying a product or service in the point of sale. Or, for example, you can imagine yourself doing home improvement. So they can offer the installment plan for you. But then, of course, the money is directly transferred into the seller, so the point of sale itself.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So we already know Peña and Nemuru, and thanks, Peña, for being here today and putting in a good place our country. Congratulations for the great work.
Trying to do so, of course.
My question is about your margins. What margins do you have now, and how you increase them by having an upsell, better services and other products?
Yeah, so the margins, the direct margin on the lender space, let's say, that for the services we bring to the lenders, we do take between 1.5 to 3% on each operation. Okay, so in every loan that is purchased. So this is the initial margin. Of course, this can be complemented with direct SaaS, let's say, pay per user for the seller as we develop further the platform in terms of user roles. Okay, and then there is a cross sell or direct selling. Even of our technology, for example, as risk as a service. Okay, so we are integrating with another financial institution in order to offer all the solution and the risk solution on top of their own.
You go back around the market opportunity, which was at the beginning of your presentation. Could you elaborate a little bit more around the opportunities and where you see the biggest problem to be solved right now, and maybe as well in the future, please?
Market, and I'm talking on the Spanish market right now. It's 75 billion. Okay, we expect this, so more or less the 20% of this opportunity is happening in the pure e-commerce, but still the other 80% is still happening in other type of sales process. It can be offline, it can be call center, it can be other type of processes. Okay, where the interaction is not fully integrated into the e-commerce. So for us, this is the main opportunity. We think there are a lot of players developing their own solutions for the e-commerce, but still, when you go to high tickets, it's 5,000 instead of 600, which is the usual average for these other type of fintech. There is much more to be solved in terms of digitalization, and we are able to offer this platform also with our partners that we basically have connected right now 2 of the main Spanish banks. But we expect to close 2020 with up to 5.
You intend to remain in Spain, or you intend to scale outside of Spain?
Of course, we intend to scale, and in fact, having these financial partners behind it, it makes things easier in terms of their also global presence, so that we can bring the solution out to other type of geographies for sure.
And what are the biggest challenges you're facing around scaling?
Well, at the end, I think almost every fintech might answer the same, which is be fully compliant with any regulation around in the other countries. Okay, I think Europe's let's say more clear view, but of course this is the main point when you need to scale. That's why I'm saying also that for us it's important to scale and to go not start launching a new country by our own, but also by having these partners, these financial partners that would help us.
Thank you.
And your team, is your team, how big is the team right now?
Yeah, so in the picture you see the 3 co-founders, which is myself, Enrique Gilabert, who used to work with me in the financial industry, in the consulting financial services, and Natalia Pichirin, who's from Argentina, and she previously worked in HSBC and Equifax, for instance. So these are the three co-founders. The actual team is around 20 people, but we do not have anything externalized, nothing, of course, in technology. So this is all ours. And I'm glad to say that Enrique, for instance, who's the guy leading the product and technology, everything started from scratch in-house and not taking anything from outside.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Great presentations. Congratulations, Per.
Thank you very much.
And stay with us because there is only one startups to be pitching, and then we will know who is going to win the hearts of the jury, because anyway, this time they're not putting their pockets in the game, but who knows? So let's see. Coming up next is Vishal Chopra from India. Hi Vishal, how are you?
Great. How's everyone?
Great. And so you have a very interesting story to tell us for banking the unbanked and reaching out to 100 different cities in India with MoneyOnClick. So Vishal, the floor is yours. 3 minutes start now.
Yep. So thanks for having me here today. So MoneyOnClick. So we have a very interesting business model. We have created a network of thousands of micro entrepreneurs and freelancers in small towns and cities. These are basically financially literate freelancers. They are mostly working in a bank or working in some insurance company or a wealth management company across more than 500 plus cities in India. And through them, we sell, we started with selling our own loans. So we are a lender ourselves. So we have the license for lending, and we don't do the marketplace lending. We basically keep the entire margin to us. That's the business. This is about the summary about us. So me and my co-founder Himanshu started this company around January of 2019. Prior to starting this, I was the chief business officer of Lending Card. That's the largest fintech lender of India. We raised close to $150 million in our last round. And my co-founder Himanshu used to head the data science and machine learning at Lending Card. He's one of the very well-known machine learning experts in India, with more than 10 years of experience of machine learning. When we started the company, we were, because of our backgrounds, and prior to that, prior to Lending Card, I was also in e-commerce for many years. I was the first employee of Amazon India back in 2011, post my MBA. And I used to head books, music, movies for Amazon India. And then I became the head of seller marketplace for Souk.com, which is now the Middle East division of Amazon. So I used to head their books, music, I used to head 4 countries, their marketplace business, seller marketplace business, before I joined Lending Card as the chief business officer. These are our investors. So we raised around $4.25 million at ideation stage. This is before we launched the company. We have, I think, a very well-known investor from Europe, Picus Capital. So this is from the founders of Rocket Internet. So Alexander Samber. So they led one of our, they were one of the lead investors in our round. Plus some of the other large Indian investors. Kalari Capital is one of the largest VC funds in India, backer of several unicorns. So we have, as I said, we have this social network of thousands of freelancers. These are financially literate freelancers, and through them we sell. Currently, the first product that we launched with is unsecured large ticket loans. So in India, if you need money for, let's say, marriage within family, or medical treatment or education of a family member, only the top 4 or 5% population, get access to these kind of loans. The rest of the population will have to, basically.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great job. I can't believe those metrics.
Yeah.
I was an investor in that type of business and companies, and these metrics are stunning. So let me hear and see what the jury members will have to ask you. Congratulations so far. Who is going to start first?
I'll start. So question about the 4.25 million that was raised. Is that for the company itself, or was that to fund the actual loans?
No, that is for the company itself. So we leverage on this.
Why was it necessary to raise such a significant amount of capital so early on with the business?
Yeah, because it's not about like the more you raise, the better it is, right? So if you see the kind of team we have been able to hire, we have some really, really solid people. I can go into more details around this, but like apart from the management team, like the founding team, we have some really senior people, in the company, and that has helped us get the metrics that we have. So we actually had 0% default rate after 1 year of business. I'm not bullshitting, till March 2020. And even despite COVID, when like our peers are seeing anywhere from 20 to 50% default rates, we should be back to near 0% default rates. That is the testament of the team that we have. We are nearly profitable within this year. So out of the 4.25 million that we raised, we have almost a little bit more than $3 million still with us. And we have a gross margin, not gross, like contribution margin, like interest income minus cost of default, cost of operation, cost of acquisition. After everything, we are left with 14%. So we will be profitable within this year. And now, because we have this very unique social selling model, so in India, all the financial services, whether you take loan or you take insurance or you take investments, only the top 5%, the rich people, they are the ones that get access to those things. The rest of them do not. So we are, and the rest of them are not very savvy that they will buy, stuff on their own. So we, through this network of thousands of these social partners, we are started with loans, but now we are moving towards insurance. A big uptick in insurance. We want to definitely bank on that. Savings. There are a lot of instruments in India that are very safe, but our customers don't buy them right now.
Vishal,
so all of those. Yeah.
Vishal, you allow me. This 0% default rate is very impressive. What makes you unique? How do you manage to get these such impressive metrics?
So there are many reasons. One, we don't underwrite the individual, we underwrite the entire family. That's very unique about us. Second, the social selling model, these people that acquire these customers, they already know them in the society. So we have these social partners in 500 plus cities. And who are these people? These are like a bank employee or a bank manager, etc., in those small towns and cities. So India is very large, right? So India has 4,000 cities. And
it's
out
like
of those,
peer selection, people are already bet who is
already,
really
yes.
working.
And then my co-founder Himanshu is the one, like pretty much I think the most famous machine learning guy for underwriting in India. He's the one because of which, so he's the one who built the entire machine learning models for lending card, because of which we raised our last round of $150 million. So, we really understand how to underwrite. We really understand how to collect. Yeah.
It sounds like the Grameen bank model plus data science, making this unique combination.
Yes. But one level above. So Grameen level is like the really poor people. So India, you can divide in three, like the rich and upper middle, and then there's this massive middle class. So our customer segment is like 100 million families whose only option right now is go to a loan shark. The banks will not touch them. They will not give them unsecured loan. So they will give them a secured loan, like a gold loan, like you have to pawn your gold or property to get a loan, but they will not give them credit card or unsecured loan. So India, 130 million population, only 30 million people with credit cards. That's all.
Very cool.
You already
1.3 billion people. Sorry.
Now I was thinking you already highlighted some of your, how you are going to scale around the products, the additional product, like you mentioned, insurance products. When you look at that target market, how do you see these scaling, looking at what you are seeing right now in the world, right? You started before COVID, how is it going to impact you, and how do you see your model being unique in the future?
Sure. So one, for our lending, I think the stress testing of our models has already happened. So we were like pre-COVID 0%, and even right now, we will be at near 0%. So that means our underwriting and collections definitely is standing the test of time. Now, the requirements our loan are not going to go away. So what are the use cases? Education, medical treatment, etc. Right? People are still going to need all those. So we will probably have more people to our access, because earlier the banks would probably lend to certain class, and now they're going to become even more risk averse. In terms of insurance and all, so we are coming up with some very specific insurance products which are not easily available in the market. I know you are an insurance expert, but most of the insurance in India is mostly it is the motor insurance, like the car or bike insurance, because that's mandated by the law. Then the saving is something called Life Insurance Corporation of India. It's like a $200 billion company by the government of India. It's like the pension fund of India. So most of the people get some kind of an insurance through that. So that's where most of the people in our segment do. But health insurance and some of the other insurances are not really popular in India. They're only the top 3-4% of people buy those. So there is a big opportunity that we want to tap. And the reason of having our own distribution model, which is the social model that we have pioneered, is because these people already have the connect. And it's impossible so banks don't focus in the small towns and cities because cost of opening branches, etc., is very high in those small towns and cities. And we only work on commission. And the reason why we are able to be successful here is because I have built some very large marketplaces in my Amazon India and Middle East days. So I used to handle the entire seller marketplaces for 4 countries in Amazon Middle East. I used to manage before I left around 100,000 active sellers in 4 countries. So I've dealt with these large marketplaces and freelancer networks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vishal. Ali, do you have a question?
Yeah, so one, I mean, definitely quite interesting. I mean, I'm looking at, the model around the families being involved, and has there been any pushback around essentially the risk kind of being shifted, which is typically on an individual taking a loan, to the entire family?
Yes, so they co-sign the loan. So typically the father co-signs the loan.
Okay.
So it helps in many ways. So we evaluate the full family, so we know the full P&L of the family. So in India, especially the smaller towns and cities, like if people like us, we are all very nuclear families, like me, my wife, and my kid. That's it. Like that's the P&L of the family. Now, if you go to the smaller towns and cities, the P&L is joint. So the father, son, daughter, brothers, and all that, they typically live in the same household for generations, and they manage the joint P&L. So there are multiple people that earn in the family. So we evaluate the full family's P&L through bank statements and all. So good thing is in India, it's a very digital economy. Like everybody has a bank account. Everybody, it's very data rich country. So the underwriting data is quite rich in our segment. So so that's why we are focusing on the middle India segment, because middle India has the money, is data rich, but is ignored by the banks because banks only focus on the rich customers.
Okay, thank you so much. Great, Vishal. Thank you for this. I would like to request now the jury members to fill in their VETs. Isaac, please take a look at the shared document so we can have your thoughts in numbers in regards to all the 3 participants, and I request all the jury members to fill in their VETs on MoneyOnClick. In the meantime, I would like to request a reflection on these 3 participants, on these 3 great founders. And I would like to have in the studio now Sabine to hear her thoughts on the 3 business models, and actually, what do you think in general of the 3 startups, Sabine?
Yeah, very impressive founders. A lot of respect for all 3 teams. I, really liked what I've heard. Some of the numbers, I mean, I'm, quite number-driven with a background in France. And so I like the metric. I, see that there is a lot of scale and a lot of growth still coming. When I look at Quppy, it was nice to see a female founder as well presenting to us today. So I thank you for that. There are still, really nice scopes for growth. What I think I also heard that is that being in over 180 countries is already very impressive. So good job to the team. Nemuru from Spain, I guess. Great product, nice focused segment. Still, you know, I would want to see that across markets. And MoneyOnClick, impressive, right? I mean, all the judges, all the investors have highlighted some of the key points around the work they have done, and focusing as well on underserved market in India. And I think a lot of us are going to start looking at more and more companies focusing on sustainability and inclusion. I have to say, bravo.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sabine. I am very grateful for very honest and direct reflection and feedback. Would you recommend some improvements in any of the three founders' presentations or ideas for the business models?
Yeah, definitely. I guess, you know, when you have 3 minutes, you have to be really focused on being able to provide the full proposition and focus on all the key points you would expect an investor to see. And so I would, you know, urge the team to, you know, probably prepare a little bit better to make sure that all the key parts are being addressed in equal way. That is the way I will keep it, if it's okay with you.
Thank you so much, dear Sabine. I would like to invite now to the studio Isaac. Isaac, what is your reflection?
I share the views of Sabine. I think it's a very strong team of competitors. That's probably why they made it here. This is top of the crop. Definitely.
Isaac, this is WEBIT. Only select the best of the best.
Right, right. Sorry for stating the obvious. I like all of them. In Nemuru, we already knew, and we have passed for now because they are really at the initial stages, and we are a fund that invests more in Series A. So in comparison with MoneyOnClick, the real strength of MoneyOnClick is they have a running business. They are, as the founder mentioned, as Vishal said, they're close to profitability, and that's very exciting for us, while the others are still in a more uncertain phase.
This is the first time we have a conflict of interest like this. I will put a special note to my team. Of course, we select great founders, but we also get involved with very active investors. So for the first time, we have an investor with vested interest in a particular company, which will not be fair to be vetted. And this is problem with WEBIT, of course. So if there are very close differences, I will take the lead and either announce 2 winners, or we'll see what will be the situation. And for the first time in such situation.
Don't worry, we did not invest yet. We are not an investor currently. We have
right.
just
so please go ahead. Go ahead.
It's not such a strong conflict of interest.
Okay, great. Go ahead with the other companies, please. What do you think? And just a kind reminder to fill in your vets in the shared document also.
Yes.
While we finish here.
So as I said, I think that MoneyOnClick is ahead in terms of developing a running business. Both Nemuru and Quppy, they have great possibilities. They are both tackling very interesting issues. One of them regarding consumer payments and the other consumer credit. With Quppy particularly, I would be very watchful with what the big fintech champions in Europe are doing, because Revolut, N26, Binex, Monzo, all them are trying to use their strong position to get into other services and other markets, moving away from just being a credit card for consumers. So be watchful of what they are doing. They have a lot of resources and they can be a strong competitor.
Thank you so much, Isaac. Thank you for this reflection and feedback. I'm hopeful that the founders will appreciate it. We are already, for the past few months, we're working with a lot of founders, supporting them since we have a lot of time, obviously, with our virtual events, helping them grow. And we've seen a number of transactions happening already as part of investors and founders pitching and presenting in our virtual platform. And it's always been a pleasure to hear feedback and to see the reflection of the founders to this feedback. So we will hear very soon what they will say to this. Isaac, thank you so much. I would like to have now Ali with me. Brian, sorry, I hear from the studio that Brian is ready. Brian, join me in the studio and let me hear what you think about the selection and about the way they've presented their business.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think everybody did a great job presenting, given that you only had a few minutes to talk about the business. That's always challenging. One of the things that I would recommend from a feedback perspective is the first sentence or two that should come out of your mouth when you begin presenting should let us investors know very specifically what the business does. And I think that was the challenge that I had with all three of the presentations is sometimes even when the presentation was completely over, I still didn't have a clear picture of exactly what the business did. And so that's a super helpful thing that if you can make that crystal clear from the beginning of the presentation, it really helps set the stage in our mindset as we move through the rest to understand the business. But in terms of an individual breakdown, I thought everything was very fascinating. Quppy, one of the things that I would make sure that you do moving forward is that the individuals and the businesses both understand the crypto to fiat transaction repercussions from a tax perspective, because they're going to have different types of things that will occur if they're going from fiat to crypto with your system. So keep that in mind. In terms of Nemuru, I really am fascinated by what you guys are working on as well. And I would provide some more clarity around the return on investment ratio for when you're extending these loans to people, how long that's taking to pay back, and kind of what that looks like internally from the business model, because I think that's a really impactful metric. And then in terms of the last business that presented, MoneyOnClick, it's very unique how you are doing the underwriting of a collective group of individuals and bundling that risk as opposed to individualizing that risk for the types of things that you're doing. And I think that there's a tremendous opportunity for growth in India. One of the things that I would recommend is just to be a little more concise when you're answering questions and not run on too much, and be a little more direct with how the answers are being presented.
Brian, thank you so much. So much on spot. It's great feedback. One of the best feedbacks I've seen over the past couple of months already on virtual, and 13 years in supporting the growth of the innovation ecosystem around the world. Thank you so much. I'm hopeful that all the thousands of people, and particularly founders who are watching us live now, will be taking notes, and will learn. This is the whole idea: supporting the level of knowledge, preparedness of the founders to help them raise the next round in a more prepared, in a more agile, easy way. It's never easy, but making it the right steps always helps. So definitely we'll have the pleasure to hear Ali now. Ali, what is your take on the three founders?
Absolutely. So, of course, after going after an incredible jury such as Isaac, Brian, and Sabine, of course, they've mentioned a lot of the things. But I'll jump into some direct points that I think were relevant. So with Quppy, I mean, this is definitely a space that I think has very high competition. I mean, I was formerly at PayPal and understand a fair bit about the fintech space. I do think one of the things that to me was maybe a little confusing was it seemed to have an expansion plan to too many regions and countries, and it's too early. I mean, there's a lot more, ability to double down and sort of grow in the area that you're in. That would be one of the things. And the other part was, I basically heard a B2B, a B2C, and a B2B2C model all in one, and that's just too much, right? Focus on one area, figure out where the highest value is, and I would say, nail it. With Nemuru, I do think it's an interesting solution, seeing some early growth. I would say the critical part is really just continuing to find the right partners, which I think is one of the big focuses for you, and being able to really continue to drive those loans. And what I did like in a way which was actually different from MoneyOnClick is you were doing the loans not off your own balance sheet. And I think that was good from a risk perspective. Of course, you're not capturing the margins. With MoneyOnClick, definitely fascinating model, and it's very interesting to use social aspects to decrease lending. There's actually a lot of studies on this that prove the effectiveness. So it's actually quite interesting to see this in practice, and the ability to achieve a 0% default rate, of course, over the period that you have is very impressive. I do think one of the challenges in the longer run as you go forward is that ability to continue to lend from balance sheet and the risk that might pose, especially when there's sort of exogenous sort of factors that could impact the business. Of course, through the pandemic, you guys have done well, but seeing now that you have the ability to prove that your risk is low and you don't have these defaults, whether or not you can either get very large capital to come in to help you to drive those loans or to raise a fund directly attached to these loans could be something interesting to explore.
Great feedback, Ali, as usual. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful when I hear such a detailed and so clear feedback. So I'm hopeful that the founders appreciate it also. Now I would like to have the founders with me in the studio. What do you think? Who is going to win? Vishal?
Oh, so you're asking me who's going to win out of three of us? I think I'll leave it up to the judges, so no idea.
Are you happy with the feedback you've received?
Sure. Just one point, Ali. So we are not pure play a balance sheet lender. So we do balance sheet plus off balance sheet lending, but we are not a marketplace where the scenario is like we take the risk, but we get like 20x leverage. So our capital, the model that we have, which is hybrid. So we have our own balance sheet, our own license, plus we work with certain other lenders, but the risk, everything is ours, but we get 20x leverage. So net on our equity that we have still with us, like with $3 million that like still I have in the bank, I should be able to lend create a book of $60 million.
Thank you. Please. It was just a simple question, but Vishal, you're really doing great. And I got it. And I don't want to be rude to you. I respect the cultural difference we all have. And I know that you feel obliged to answer to this. Thank you. It's very clear. And your model is really brilliant. I would like to hear from Pera. And what do you think, Pera? Who is going to win?
Sure, this is a difficult question. I'll let you the judges decide, of course. But I think three interesting models. Of course, I am more close to Vishal, so I understand a little bit more what they'll be doing. But yeah, and I really appreciate the feedback. Of course, many good tips to take away with me.
I can assure you that with the thousands of people watching and the investors that are following this, three of you are winners, right? It's the fact that you're pitching now live in front of this audience is something that really matters. But at the end of the day, there's always one winner. And we started with Alina. Alina, what do you think? What are the chances of Quppy winning over the other two relatively similar models?
First of all, I'm very thankful for the provided feedback. It's really, really precious to us. So thank you to all the judges. And I would say that, yes, I agree that at the same time, we're all winners. It's up to judges to decide. And yet our biggest winning is providing our services, the possibility of providing our services to the clients all around the world or in some regions. So I would say that's the key point.
Thank you, Alina. I think you really received some very good feedback, especially in regards of your next checkpoint, 7 mil being raised. I would be conscious about the feedback you got, particularly on the putting your resources in too many areas, in too many markets, with too many type of customers, and that would be, I believe, interesting to see if you're going to reflect in your investors deck. But at the end of the day, as I said, there is only one winner. And I'm no shy to say that I like it. I like the fact that there is one winner only. That makes the others even more competitive to get on the next and the next and the next level of their own excellence. The winner today, as per the vetting of the investors, is, by the way, let me just say that it's a very high number. We don't see that high numbers by the investor jury. You know that the maximum number of points is 50. We see a relatively high number for the winner, and I would say with 10, actually more, 20% higher than the second runner-up. So the winner is MoneyOnClick. Congratulations, Vishal. Job well done.
Thank you.
Your business model is great. Your impact is fantastic. I'm sure you are only going to grow it. It's a pleasure for WEBIT to be a platform awarding you with the opportunity to join us for the $1 million award and for the exhibition and matching with all our investors, full of thousands of investors from all around the world. I think that now the eyes are more and more focused on India. You are not scaling out of this country, but this country is scaled by itself, going to be the most populated country in the next 10 years. At the same time, still very young and becoming the youngest. So that's fantastic market for you to grow, and definitely that's a scalability of itself enough. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to all participants. I would like to announce that tomorrow we are hosting the leading media panel on FinTech. We will be hearing a lot of discussions on the new type of players coming up to the FinTech market. What if and when we will see the change in the banks and who are going to be the new players? What is the new competition playground? Is it in with Alipay and Alibaba and Airbnb and Amazon, and many other discussions on the future trends on the financial and technology industry, and how is it going to be happening in the next couple of years. We're in discussions with some of the best financial journalists around the world. Join us tomorrow again. Thank you all for joining. Special thanks to the fantastic jury panel. And I look forward to welcome you, dear friends, again to WEBIT as members of the jury. Thank you all. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
This program is powered by thevirtual.show, making your offline events virtual.